Morning, my dingy hyenas. So, we're cooking breakfast right now. We're coming out to the Stuff Rock Hut. A little bit later this morning, we're going to be checking some rocks that are getting tumbled. This is Rough Media Jasper. My favorite daughter-in-law and new subscriber, Jay, has finally been tumbling for a couple weeks. Got remnants of the fire agate, which we'll be doing a little cutting on geodes, nodules today. Right now I'm gonna change these fittings because they are galvanized and they came with it. Let's see, they came with this rock grinder. Yeah, that's not too bad. But galvanized, used with regular tap water and dissimilar metals, which you can see here with the brass fitting. So when you're doing things, this is brass, this is brass, this is galvanized steel. Dissimilar metals cause corrosion at a pretty disturbing rate. So when doing any sort of water system, and I mean I get why originally whoever put this together used that. This is the water system for cooling the belts and grinders. And probably because it's cheap and it was easy to find and the brass was there before. But what's happening now is they're corroded fiercely inside. And it's cutting my water flow down. Cutting my water flow down to my belts, which is a problem. The belts are, $100-something for a couple of them. So starving a belt for water gives you a bad product, and it causes excessive wear. Those are $180 a piece. Those are grinding wheels. And over here on this side of the machine are the grinding belts. This is all for polishing rocks. So you can see like some petrified wood that I've bookended there. So it still needs some polishing to make these true. But as you can see with our fitting here, there you go, autofocus, see the corrosions built up inside it. This is probably the best one. I cleaned them all out a couple weeks ago when I was here last. And you can see there, problematic. So what I have now, stainless. Stainless is a high chrome, but it makes it brittle. So we're going to replace this galvanized, which is just standard steel that's dipped in a coating. A lot of older houses are done with galvanized. I think my daughter's teaching PEX right now, which is PVC, and that's the way to do it. PVC, PEX, something along those lines. Really need a full-time camera person, I guess. So, brass to brass fittings, you don't need pipe tape, right? Thread tape, this Teflon. What you want to do, take your Teflon, put your first wrap, assuming this is visible, yeah. Then you hold it tight and rotate your fitting like you were tightening it, right? You will be tempted to just go helter-skelter, put way too much on, and you pull it and it snaps. So you always hold the tape and tighten your fitting when possible. But you want to remember that you need to wrap your tape in the way that it's tightening. Otherwise, what happens when I go to put this fitting on, when I go to tighten it, it'll undo your thread tape, and then you're going to spend an hour trying to figure out the right way to do it. I become very frustrated, and then just decide, I'm not going to put any on there. Which will have a bad long-term result. And because this isn't my regular toolbox, of course, I can't find what I'm looking for. Part of the issue with having multiple toolboxes. So we're just going to scrape the corrosion that built up last time. There's no filtration on this rock grinding system, so I mean you're always going to get a little bit of scale built up. We're going to thread that guy back on there. Since it's brass to stainless, the high chrome content of stainless is going to prevent it from having the exact same thing that we had with the dissimilar metals. Because it's multiple metals, it's metal, it's steel, and chrome. Now when you're retightening, where I wasn't perhaps as cautious with the threads, taking it off, you have to be a bit more cautious. It's like you get a bite on the thing. With the threads, putting it back on. We're going to get it lined back up. Put our brass piece back on here. And then that is going to... So these are barbed fittings without hose clamps. We're not running high water pressure. Once I put this on, I'll show you. You can get away with just no hose clamp on a barbed fitting. And you always should use the right size wrench. But again, not a high pressure system. I'm being lazy this morning because it's not my regular toolbox. So there you go. Right, since you guys will likely inherit this at some point, my recommendation is sell it if you're still into rocks and buy a little guy like this, which I've yet to have time nor place to set up. Anyway, the system operates as such. This is the water sump. That's the pump. It comes up here and feeds into the water lines. It's on a switch. So now, oh look, a little chunk of amethyst. I guess when you have this kind of hobby, you have little semi-precious gems laying around. Right, so see, we got the water coming down now, and we can adjust the flow up here. And then when you turn it on, now that's probably a bit too much water. You don't want to be getting sprayed. Turn it back down to a dull drip. So these are so hard. They'll sand your nails nicely for a manicure, but you can't hurt yourself by touching any of it because your skin is not hard enough. So you see that spins up those belts, and on this side spins up these belts. So for the purpose of cutting down noise, we can leave the water running for a minute and I'll show you how it drains back. This is your coarsest grinding stone, right? So when you start shaping rocks, you start with a saw to get your rough shape, and then you work progressively down through your stones, and you don't stop going down through your stones until all the micro scratches are out of it. And then you come back down here to your highest grit belt, or your lowest grit belt, 160 grit of diamond. Sand there till all the scratches are gone, sand here till all the scratches are gone, and then here, this is like I think 1,000 grit. Don't touch the sides of the belts. I've learned, I'm pretty sure I've healed up since it's right there. I touch the side and it goes through you like a razor. You touch the front, not the sides. Same thing with this. The edges are very sharp when at speed. And then you come down to your buffer and you use a little lemon juice on your leather face pad, and that helps finish up. But you got to get way down with this 1,000 grit to get the scratches so small that our eyes can't see it. So then you get that fine polish that just stays. So like this one, for instance, that's all polish. There's no lacquer, no nothing. So the sheen you see is from polishing on that machine. But as you can see, I have some more work to do because I didn't get it out enough of these micro scratches, right? They go away with water, but you can semi-feel them with your fingernail. This is a piece of jasper. That's what Jay's over there turning. Probably going to turn it into a waterfall bookend. Put some resin, let it come down the natural crystal front of it, like you see all those DIYs. Or I may do it on this face because it's rougher already. So haven't decided just yet what this is going to end up being. But you know, Christmas is around the corner. All right, there you go. So that is your plumbing dad does stuff and basic operation of the rock grinder. So when you inherit it, when I croak, there you go. I'm going to go store this somewhere.